What's up, guys? I'm gonna try something new here. Get a little channel going for this new car I've been building for about 8 months. I'm gonna do a little quick overview of it today for the first video, and then we're gonna progress on to stuff like the first startup, which will be pretty soon, actually, believe it or not. Um, when we first take it out to the track, everything we got to do to get it lined out. If we got to make bar changes, shock adjustments, tune-up changes. Everything we got to do to get it to go down the track, we're gonna get it all on video. So that ought to be pretty interesting because it's a whole new combo to me. So it's gonna be a learning curve for sure. But I just got, I had to change the gears in the third member for a different combination, obviously. I just got it put back in yesterday, and I slid the axles back in it, got the new wheels put on it, and set it on the ground for the first time. I really got to step back and look at it, and it looks freaking sweet. I'll flip around and let y'all check it out. It looks badass. Actually sits pretty low. You can actually go about another 2 inches lower than that. But we'll start in the back. As you see, I still got two panels I got to build, which ain't gonna be too bad. Yeah, it's got a rust hole over there. It's actually got a bullet hole too. But this is a full-size battery. I really don't care for the lithium stuff. People are always having problems with them. They'll have to stack two of them in there just to have enough capacity and stuff like that. And then you just try and save weight on the battery, and then you take and add a bunch of weight in the trunk anyways. So we just start ahead with these. They're actually real sweet. You can race all night without charging them once, and it'll still have 16.5 volts by the end of the night. So let me see if you can see the rear end. I got this from Marty Marilat. I hope I pronounced that right. It is a 9-inch. It's a chromoly housing. Those shocks actually came from Summit, straight from Summit. They're just an AFCO big gun with the X valve in. They work pretty good. They had them in the last car. Soph came to say hi. What's up, Soph? She's actually been my working partner. She's the only one that helps me. But yeah, super nice rear end. That's actually the second one I've got from them guys. All this tube, I did it all here in the garage. I got a bender from JMR. It looks just like a JD squared that everyone uses, but it's actually a little cheaper. I use that. I bought the manual version, and a company called Swag Off-Road makes a little conversion kit, so you can go down to Harbor Freight and buy one of their Rams for like 80 or 90 bucks, and you got a manual bender for pretty cheap. I got their little hole saw notcher also, and it worked great. Never had any issues with it not being able to do something. So that worked out great. Did all the sheet metal. I bought this little, watch out, so. Bought this little Eastwood brake. I think it's a 30-inch. It worked freaking sweet. Got everything done I needed it to do. We did go to a 3-speed. It's a tight ratio 3-speed. Mr. Wendell's Motorsports built that for me. We got a PTC converter. Dusty Bradford spec'd that. I've had 2 of them before this one, so I've had 3 total. And all of my previous ones have always been spot on the first try, so that's always a plus. I did get 2 stators, one for prep and one for no prep. If you'll notice, this thing has radials on it. That is kind of where this combination come from. I got the M&M, the 3-speed. We're going to do coils on this. Yes, it does have an HP in it, as did all my previous cars. I've never used the wheel speed, shock travel, drive shaft RPM. I've never used none of that stuff. Traction control, none of that crap. It's basically just going to run the motor, and that's going to be it. Everything else is going to be It's basically just going to be power management on the computer. But yes, it is a Hemi. It is a blower. What's up, Soph? She keeps getting mad at me for moving her. We just got this fuel cell put on. I actually had to build that. The square one wasn't going to work out. The tire turns. You got to have clearance right there, and the square one wasn't going to work out, being real close to the blower. So got that built real quick, rolled some aluminum, cut out some circles for the top and the bottom. Bought this cap from Summit, actually. But where all this come from, like I said earlier, it's got a radial on it. This small block actually works great on the no prep stuff, because the track's really not going to hold a whole lot of power. So the small block actually gets it done, and it weighs less. But like I said, we're going to do some radial racing, so that's where this combination come in. It's probably going to make the same horsepower as my small block did, but it's going to do it on less boost. If you'll see, when you start leaning on small blocks, you end up with piles of parts that you can't do nothing with, but make cool stuff like little lamps and whatnot. But yeah, that's what we're going to do with this. We're going to do some radial racing. We did the TBM brakes, which are super sweet also. But all this stuff, this is actually Rust-Oleum paint. We did the brush on, which is super cool because you don't got to worry about getting overspray all in the toolbox, all that stuff. Unless you dump the can on the ground like I did over there, and you get a mess on the floor. But like all this stuff, obviously I ain't painted none of this yet, because I'm still mounting stuff. So I can just come back and maybe just drape some rags over the valve covers and take and brush this. But what's probably gonna end up happening is it's just gonna get raced like this because I ain't got time to freaking paint. But I did cut out the factory strut towers, which there's no rules about it right now in small tires, so I'm not too worried about it. But if the rule change comes, which I doubt it will, but if it does, I got them out back. I'll put them back on. I'll weld it all back up. It'll be just like a Mustang. But that covers that end. I got to do a catch can still, which I need to build a pretty big one because this thing holds 10 quarts. You always need to have a can that'll hold at least capacity of oil that your engine holds, because when you put a hole in the piston, it pushes all that oil into the cans, and you always see guys running these little bitty like 1 quart cans up here, which is cool because they're easy to fit everywhere. But what that does is they can't hold nothing, and all the oil gets everywhere, on the track, all in the engine bay, on the headers, which normally causes a fire, and that's not cool. I'll probably put a big one in the back, with a little chimney. That way, if anything does happen, it's always safer to have the oil behind you, instead of in the front up here, which people do it and don't have problems. But up here, there is the possibility of oil getting underneath the car, on the tires and stuff. But anyways, did one of these. For those of you that have not seen one of these before, it's a Clearview filter. You run an oil line to it, a feed and return, obviously. And instead of, we've always cut the filters, pull the filter off, cut it open, and you see how everything's, how the bearings are acting and stuff, what you're filtering. With this, you just take air, push it in here, and it pushes all the oil down through that screen, and on top of that screen, you see everything you're filtering, so you don't have to cut filters open all the time. Heck, you could do that every pass if you really wanted to. I'm not. But yeah, that covers that. Let's see what else. I think that really covers it for the most part. I gotta build fuel lines still. I got to do a 20 suction from the tank over to the pump. I'm going to do a feed, going to put a fuel filter right here. Going to go up to the filter, up to the rail, join them in the back, come down to the regulator, and then return off there to the fitting in the back of the tank right there, which that won't take but an hour or two. Build a couple lines, it's not too bad. I got to do that. I got to finish wiring. I'm in the middle of wiring the CDI box right now. It's a freaking mess. I gotta do that. I got the main harness torn apart right now. This is actually off my small block Ford. And like I was saying, I just ran my small block Ford on a crank trigger. So this doesn't have anything for coils on it. I gotta take and repin a J1, I think it's a J1B. All these empty pins are basically for your passenger side and your driver's side coils. So I gotta do that. Let's see what else. I got a list right here. Let's see, I gotta do parachute mount still. I gotta do them 2 panels in the trunk. Let's see, floorboard panel, that's done. I gotta do the harness, like I said. Fuel system, a feed and a drain. So this blower is a Vortec brand, and with them, they're actually like a turbo, as in they have a feed, an oil feed, and an oil drain back to the motor. Unlike the Pro Charger brand stuff, it's just a self-contained unit, whereas you just dump oil in the case and you just change it periodically. So I got to do that, and with that, I got to pull the pan off the motor still. And weld a fitting on it for the drain. And that's another cool thing about this thing. You can come off right here, and that's actually oil pressure. So I'm going to come off it and come down over to the blower for the feed. But yeah, it ought to work out pretty good. This motor is actually a lot smaller. It's actually the blower too. Normally guys are like running 540s or 572s with a 136 or 140 blower. Nowadays, this thing is about 426 cubes and a way smaller blower. So it'll be pretty manageable for the no prep stuff, and it's still going to be super efficient for the radial stuff. I'm trying to get the best of both worlds, which is kind of a fine line. It's going to be interesting to get it all lined out and see how that all works. Let's see what else. Feed and drain, weld the pan. Now that I got the third member back in it, I can measure and order a drive shaft. I gotta do a catch can like I was saying. I'm gonna try and build a wing. These cars are super flat off the back. If you'll see, they just come flat, and it's the deck lid. We're gonna run the factory metal deck lid that's just flat across the back. So it's gonna be super easy to come off with a wing. Come with my little seal panels up to it. Probably need to do that first before I do the parachute mount, so I know how high I can come up. With steel clearing. I think that about covers it. Me and Soph are going to get this thing buttoned up. As you can see, she's a whole lot of help. But yeah, that about covers it. We got a couple races coming up in a few weeks for Danny's car. This thing's not going to be ready, so we'll get some videos of Danny's car. See how that goes. It should be pretty fun. Hobbs has a race with their heads-up series. They actually have a heads-up series with a race every month. And Odessa, the pinwheel track, is doing the same thing. Gary's got a heads-up prepped race series, doing a race once a month also. So that's super cool to have some local races, semi-local. They're only 2 hours away. Hobbs is one. To go to every month, so that's super cool. We're gonna get everything we got to do there. We even got a grudge race set up with this thing for the first track outing, so that's gonna be interesting to get too. But I think that about covers it, guys. If y'all got any questions on stuff you want me to include on the next video, let me know, and we'll get it covered. We'll get back with y'all in a couple days. So peace out.